doing? David Taub here. Hope all is going well, and I hope your guitar and musical journeys are going famously. And today I have 3 key tips for you for effectively using jam tracks and putting them into your practice routines. You know, jam tracks are just an invaluable tool for the practicing guitarist to kind of take what they're learning and practicing and putting it in a musical context, right? Taking all those scales and notes and making music with them and having a rhythm behind them. And I get so many email questions all the time from students who are frustrated, who are, sending in questions like, hey David, I'm trying to play over jam tracks, but it just doesn't sound right. What could be the problem? And know if this is happening to you, you're not alone, because it's a very common question. And also know that it might not be you per se. Maybe it's just that you're using the wrong kind of jam track, or you're not using it in the most efficient and productive way. And that's what we're going to get into in this lesson. And you'll be able to get this track that I'm using today for free, plus 5 more. And I'll tell you how you can get 6 killer jam tracks and my jam tracks coach a little later in the lesson. If you could do me a huge favor, please subscribe to the channel. That really helps us to keep bringing the content, and then you'll be notified when I have new content posted. Also, leave a comment below. Let us know how you like this lesson, and let us know what lessons you'd like to see coming up. If you like the video, please click the like button, give it a thumbs up, share it, and thank you so much for your support. So my number 1 tip for effective use of jam tracks is make sure you're using the right kind of jam track. And what I mean by that is that the jam track should be made for educational purposes, for study purposes. You want to pick jam tracks that don't have tons and tons of chords in them and tons of things going on and so much instrumentation that it's really hard to weave a solo into it to get it to sound good, right? At first especially, you should be choosing jam tracks that are just a couple of chords, like I was playing over in that intro. It was just 2 chords, an E minor chord to a B minor chord, slow moving chords, so you could really time your licks out, leave lots of space, and how you can, if you want to target each chord, you can play over each chord, a little over the E minor, and then when it changes, you'll hear it because it's slow moving, right? And also, you don't want tracks at first with a lot of complex chords in them, because the more complex the chords that you're playing over, it's going to limit your solo opportunities or soloing avenues. So you want it to be wide open. The second tip is, the tracks have to sound good. This isn't as much an issue today as it is years ago, when the home recording techniques weren't as good, or there was just all MIDI tracks and whatnot. A lot of the tracks today sound pretty good, but you want the tracks to be really empowering and motivating to play over. You know what I always say, life is too short to play over shitty sounding jam tracks. So make sure the tracks that you're downloading or the tracks you're buying are tracks that inspire you and that they are motivating and empowering to play over. Because that's just gonna, get you fired up more. It's gonna get you picking up your guitar more. It's gonna get you, to all the right places. And if you want some really killer sounding jam tracks and an effective practice tool, I could send you my jam track coach for free. Click on the link in the YouTube description box below. I'll send you 6 killer sounding jam tracks and 2 ebooks. And the first ebook has all the tracks listed out one by one, all the chords to all the progressions and soloing suggestions and strategies. And in the second ebook, I diagram out all the scales and other soloing strategies. There's more lessons. It's a very powerful practice tool, and I'll send you both the jam tracks and the ebooks for free. Just click on that link below. And then the third thing is have some sort of plan, some sort of structure when you're using jam tracks. And don't get me wrong, of course you could just kind of give yourself plenty of fun time on the guitar. You should be, and then put on a track and just kind of get lost in it. Absolutely. But I'm talking about when you're using the actual tracks for practice purposes, where you want to get, some work done. You want to have some structure. You want to have a plan. The first thing is always know what the chords are that you're playing over. Remember, it's the chords that give you the full roadmap to all the soloing avenues and opportunities. The key is only a little part of it. You really need to know the chords. That's going to direct you to, which modes you can use. That's going to direct you to, how you want to target notes or of the chords, land on certain chord tones. The chords are key. And another really useful tool is once you know the chords and you put the track on, play through the rhythm a couple times, playing just the chords. And that's useful for a few reasons. Number 1, it will help you with your rhythm skills, and that's so important because we all want to burn and rip it up on lead guitar, right? We all do. I do too. We all want to do that, but when you're playing music with a band or you're playing with someone, you're mostly playing rhythm. Solos are very small parts of songs. So you know, your lead playing is really only ever going to be as good as your rhythm playing. So you don't want to neglect your rhythm playing. And this is a good way for you to work on your rhythm chops and your timing, is to try to play the chords of the track, roll through it a few times. Another benefit is then you'll know exactly where they're changing. So it's always a good idea to play through the changes, and definitely make sure, this is a lot of students miss the turn on this. A lot of players always know the chords you're soloing over. They will give you the full roadmap. Okay, so I have the jam track on now, and you can hear that playing in the background. And basically it's just an E minor chord to a B minor chord, right? Real simple, real easy, 2-chord change, lots of space, lots of room to weave the solo in, okay? And as you can, and in my jam track coach that you can get by clicking that link below, when I list it out, you'll see for every track I have the chords listed. The key is E minor, and then I start to talk about, okay, what could you use solo and improvisation wise? Where in the key of E minor, you could use E minor pentatonic and blues scales over both chords. They relate to all. And usually you could use a mode over both chords too. In this instance, you could use E Aeolian, E natural minor, 7-note scale. And that's what I was doing a lot when I was soloing in the intro to this lesson. You try E natural minor. If you don't know those scales, I list them in the ebook, right? So you can try those. If you just know pentatonic, E minor, then just use that. So that's one thing you could do. You can jam over what relates to all, both chords. Or the other thing you could do is you could treat each chord as a separate event. And when the E minor chord, which is right there, is playing, try E minor pentatonic, something that relates to E minor, E natural minor, E Aeolian, E Dorian. There's the chord change to the B minor, so I'm going to play like B natural minor, B minor pentatonic. I stop the E and I go to the B stuff. Now we're back to E, I got to go back to the E minor stuff. You know, E natural minor, E arpeggios, E minor arpeggios, B minor triad, B natural minor, sounds really good. As well as targeting certain notes. So over the E minor chord, that E minor chord is made up of an E note, right, a B note, and a G note. So you might want to target those notes when you're soloing, right? And try a different note maybe each time, right? So here's an E note, right? I'm playing over that E chord. Then when it changes to the B minor chord, you have a B, a D, or an F sharp that's in B minor. So try landing on one of those notes. There I'm landing on a G to the E. Now here's the B minor, right? Playing a little B minor triad. Landing on a B note. Go back to E, here's E. E minor pentatonic, right? And blues, and then B minor, try some B minor pentatonic. Right? B minor pentatonic and blues. But then I got to get off the B, go back to your E, E natural minor. Right? And then here's some B minor. Right? I'm targeting that over each chord. I am treating each chord as a separate event. Or you could just play E natural minor over both chords. Did it again, landing on the B. Or I'll land on that F sharp. I like that, landing on the F sharp over the B minor chord. So what I'm doing is I'm practicing. I'm breaking the chords up into which notes make up each chord, and then I target those notes. And that's really easy to do as far as if you have a jam track where the chords are moving slowly. Now if you have a jam track with tons of chords and the chords are flying by, can't really do it. You'll be playing more relates to all. So that's why it's really good to use these slow moving tracks where there's lots of space, lots of time on each chord. You can really target and focus and land on those notes and make big solo statements, right? So just with maybe a few little tweaks, right, to the jam tracks you're using or maybe how you're using them, you can make tremendous progress. And then certainly, you know, give yourself plenty of fun time on that guitar. Maybe just put a track on after your practice and just kind of get lost in it and have a good time and just because playing over jam tracks, good sounding ones, are really fun. Hope you enjoyed that lesson. Have fun using jam tracks. Make sure there's some structure. Remember some of the things we talked about. And oh yeah, please subscribe to the channel because that really helps us to keep bringing the content, and then you'll be notified when I have new lessons up. And get my jam track coach. I'll send it to you for free. Click on that link below. 6 killer jam tracks, 2 ebooks, soloing strategies. I go over the tracks one at a time. It'll really help you along your way in your guitar journey. And if you got a second, I just dropped a new record with my original band Mind Cell, based out of San Diego, California. It's a slammin' record. I think it's some of the best music I've ever written. I'd love for you to hear it. And I'd love your feedback. I'll put links to all the platforms below so you can check it out. And then if you have any questions, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the music, the songs. If you have any questions on the gear I use or the studio recording techniques, I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for your support over the years and years. So appreciated. Stay tuned. Tons more killer lessons coming. Keep up all that hard work on those guitars. Stay positive. And remember, your guitar playing is an evolution. So take care, rock on, and enjoy the journey. And I'll see you in the next lesson.